There we go. Nothing else heard. Let's get started then with this evening's net, especially seeing as we are going into load shedding a little bit later. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to say greetings to one and all and welcome to this week's net. We do have ZS6SNY available on Zoom, so at least I'm not on my own. But I never am because there's many listeners out there who are far too shy to actually call in and let us know that you're there. So those that are wishing to join the net, you're more than welcome to do so, to join via Zoom as it is open. If you don't have the Zoom link, please contact me on WhatsApp 082-859-2684, and I'll send you the link with the greatest of pleasure. And of course, today is Sunday, 3rd September 2023, and the time is 19:05. We begin the weekly net 1900, about 5 minutes before we proceed on the Redeport repeater. And of course, the net is broadcast every Sunday evening for the benefit of radio amateurs, disaster relief cert volunteers, and members of the general public. Therefore, this net is open to all interested parties. Everyone is welcome to participate using either amateur radio, Zoom, or both. ZS6OPS returning. I would like to, however, remind all the radio amateurs who have not checked in that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater or any of the amateur radio bands. All that is required from you is that you have a valid amateur radio license issued by ICASA, which automatically grants you the right to use any of the amateur radio bands at any time. There's no need to ask for or be granted permission from anyone to use the repeaters or amateur bands. I'd also like to encourage all the listeners and participants to share the weekly net, a Zoom link at least, with everyone they know, as this will help us grow the net and give us the opportunity to disseminate information as far and wide as possible throughout the country. So that being said, let's move on to the World Health Organization's COVID-19 figures. This week standing at 770 million and 85,713 cases were reported by the WHO as at 20 past midnight on the 30th of August. Now, in comparison to last week, 769,806,000, we do see a global increase of 279,583 cases, whereas the week before that, we only saw an increase of 31,484. The death toll, on the other end, it's standing at 6,956,173, compared to the previous week of 6,955,497. That equates to an increase of 676, almost double of the previous week's 356. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. Now, Mpox. We got figures as at the 29th of August 2023, standing at 89,596 compared to 89,529. We saw a total increase of 69 cases compared to the previous week's 138. And of course, South Africa hasn't reported any new figures. Well, let's go on and have a look at the skewed measles figures, which as at 30 August 2023 is now standing at 1,141 compared to 1,137, only 4 that have gone up. Moving on, this week I'm gonna, let me clear the timeout timer. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. This week we'll be covering UN news yet again, as quoted from the United Nations UN news website. So this article, dated 1 September 2023, is based on the climate and environment. And I quote, a UN-appointed human rights expert on Friday urged the international community to increase assistance to the Bahamas and other small island states that face elevated threats from natural disasters resulting from climate change. The Bahamas needs long-term financial planning to address its climate vulnerability and economic dependence on tourism, said Atiya Waris, the UN independent expert on foreign debt, international finance obligations, and human rights, in a statement at the end of a 10-day visit to the country. Financial aid challenges, Ms. Waris noted that the Bahamas' status as a high-income country hinders its ability to secure loans from international financial institutions and access development aid. The reality is that they should be supported by the international community, including international financial institutions and development banks, she said. Mr. Waris, did we not actually refer to Miss Waris? I think that might be a bit of a typo. So Miss or Miss, Mr., Mrs. Waris called upon both the Bahamas and the global community to adopt an alternate comparative indicator instead of relying solely on gross domestic product or GDP per capita. This recommendation stems from recognizing that the nation faces distinctive challenges, such as a high cost of living and an ongoing vulnerability to catastrophic climate-related disasters, which demand a greater allocation of resources than many other states. So that's something that just makes one think about financing, especially when it comes to disaster and disaster management, disaster risk reduction. All right, so let's have a look and see, are there any other check-ins? That's the end of the news for tonight. Let's see if there's any other check-ins. ZS6OP is standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. So finally, in closing, I'd like to encourage everyone to register as a disaster relief cert volunteer and to prepare and train to assist local communities when a disaster strikes. Besides wanting to thank those who have actually checked in, all one of them, and myself, and especially those that have listened, I'd like to remind you that as the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing, it is still infecting thousands weekly. Please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask to protect others, especially the elderly, who could lose their lives if infected with COVID-19. Remember that it is always best to sanitize or wash your hands on a regular basis in any event. Doing so will also assist in stopping the spread of other respiratory diseases as well. So for the week moving forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6OPS, now releasing the report repeater for general use. Cheers all. Yeah, so the Bahamas are all places now. I mean, you know, why don't we look at the other areas that really and truly need it? But anyway, that's just the way the UN works, isn't it?